Is on this live right now? Let's see. Okay, so we are live
I don't know
on
how to do this.
YouTube, Facebook, TikTok,
Oh
and
god.
Instagram.
Oh wait, hold
Okay.
on. We're not quite live on Instagram yet.
Okay. Let's set
Yeah.
this up so that I turn this on here. Okay. So for those of you who are watching, so far zero of you. Okay, we are live on so many different platforms, and let's see how we're gonna set this up. Oh, I forgot I can hang it up here. Let's see. There you go. We're
Perfect.
live on everything, every single channel. I hope this thing
Uh,
doesn't fall off.
do we have any
Yes.
commenters?
What is up? What is up,
Oh
guys?
my gosh.
Hold on. I'm trying to go live on so many platforms right now that it's really difficult to get all of it
Let me
started.
see if it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just hope this doesn't fall off.
Does it
Okay. How
work?
many? We have 2 viewers on YouTube. For those of you that are joining live, we are on YouTube. We are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, and we are on Facebook Live right now. So we're trying to go live on all of these platforms right now.
Let me
It's going to
see.
be hard to answer everybody's questions, but right now I can see everybody's questions through one streaming platform, which is StreamYards. Those questions are coming from Instagram, sorry, YouTube and Facebook. So if you guys have any questions for us, let us know. But we're going to be getting straight to it. I think going forward, I want to have some content to talk to you guys about. So one of those being like the contracts there that I have in my possession, and one of them is like you know Kaiser Permanente. I have Stanford. I have just so many El Camino, and many other hospitals are included in that. So if you guys want me to go through some of those contracts, I can do that in other lives. I might not do it in this live because this one is just a Q&A type of live that I usually do with Monica. So Monica's in the background, and last time she was here, somebody said that she looked like she was disengaged, like she wasn't paying attention. Maybe she was not interested in what I was doing with my YouTube, which is not true. She's like the moderator for the channel. And that's why she seems so busy and occupied in the background, is because she's moderating the comment section. Okay, so let's see. If you guys want to see my screen, because I'm also going to be sharing some stuff, then you guys can go on YouTube or on Facebook and search for Nurses to Riches, because you'll be able to see what I'm sharing on the screen through there. Okay, so we have a couple of people on TikTok. This is our TikTok audience right here. I don't know if you
Okay.
guys can see that.
I'm trying to. Oh, okay. There you go.
All right.
Okay, because there's some comments
Yeah.
on our Instagram already.
Yeah. So
Um.
we have 12 comments on our Instagram. All right, let's see. Erica, Liz, what's up? You are on YouTube right now. Jake, you're on YouTube. Ari, you're on YouTube. And Nurses to Tech. Do I use Notion? That's one of the questions that was just asked. Yes, I use Notion. I use it all the time, actually, especially with my video editor. So the video editor has been on point with everything. And I told you guys that I hired her through onlinejobs.ph. And I was initially, I'll be completely transparent with you guys, right? On onlinejobs.ph, you can hire someone to do the work for you for as little as, like, let's say $200 every 2 weeks, which is, I mean, it's awful, right? But believe it or not, that may be like average salary for Filipinos. However, I started her off at $200 every 2 weeks, and now I've increased her salary to like $500 every 2 weeks, because she's doing such a good job, and she's been doing all of the TikTok videos that you've been seeing, all of the shorts. She's been repurposing all of our content, and in addition to that, she's been editing every single interview video that you've been seeing for like the last month, which is why I am like, I meet every deadline now. Every single video on Sunday is posted on time because of her. So I really appreciate everything that she's doing. And I told her that if we start doing a lot better on YouTube and social media, then I'm gonna reward her for it. And I feel like it's only right, even though like she's gonna be making a lot more than most of her family members in the Philippines. I still think she deserves it. I feel like it doesn't matter where you live in the world or the country. Like, you should be getting paid what you deserve, and that's how I feel about nurses, right? This is why I'm always preaching that nurses should move to a place and work in a place where they feel like they're going to be compensated the way that they should be, right? Like you have so many nurses across this country that are getting paid 10, 15, $20 an hour, believe it or not. That's the truth. And they don't change their circumstances. And I don't think that's right. That's why I make all these videos. Okay, let's see. So another question. Where did you learn how to drop ship? Okay, that's it was just trial and error. When I first started drop shipping, I went on YouTube and I just started researching, is drop shipping still a viable business model? And then I started researching whether I could even actually make money off of YouTube, off of drop shipping, because I'm computer savvy to begin with, but I didn't know if drop shipping was really going to be the thing for me. But the reason why I went into it is because I knew that you didn't really need much money to get started drop shipping. And honestly, you could start drop shipping with less than $500 and make tens of thousands of dollars per month. That's how easy it is to get into it. That's why you see all these teenagers who don't really have a lot of money making tens of thousands of dollars, is because now with the world of social media where you can promote your products organically, and what I mean by organically is like you're not paying for traffic, you can make so much more money, right? If you guys have questions on TikTok, let me know. I see a whole bunch of you there too. What's going on?
I requested to join. I'm joining.
So Monica's moderating over here, and she's looking at our. We have like 3 phones
Oh my God,
all over the place.
I don't know. I'm trying to.
You want to pull it off?
I'm trying to add myself here, but
there you go, right there.
How do I? Oh God.
Okay. So, all right, let me go through the questions. Where did you? Okay, so I learned how to drop ship through that, and like I mentioned in previous videos, I actually made $7,500 in profit on my most profitable week, and the reason I stopped is because I didn't know what I was doing. That's why I feel like it's so important to have a mentor. And that's why Monica and I are doing it that way this time. And I joined a mentorship group with Monica about a week ago. And I feel like already it's only been a week. And I feel like we've learned so much in this past week than I could have learned trying to figure it out myself in years, right? Because not only do you have your mentor, based on the mentorship program you join, you might have other business owners or other people that are trying to do similar things that might be way ahead of you, who are also coming to these meetings and giving you their pieces of advice. And I think that's so key, because remember, you need to surround yourself with people who you also want to be like, right? That's why again, I always fall back to the channel and I say, if you want to make more money, you need to move to a location where nurses are making more money. Okay, next. All right, let's go with I can actually show the comments. So I'm going to show the comments. Let's see. I am having a hard time choosing between ED and ICU. Any guidance, help, and thank you. That's a tough one because it's going to depend on you. I can't tell you which one is better and which one is worse. What I can tell you is the ED is extremely busy and chaotic, regardless of which ED you work in. I've been working in the ER for like 10 years now, going on 11. And every ER I've ever worked in has been extremely chaotic and busy. But if you're the type of person that likes to churn patients, and I'm not saying TURN, it's CHURN, and you don't like to stick with the same type of patient for 1, 2, 3 days, and you like to learn a lot of different skills and a lot of different types of illnesses and diseases, then the ED is the type of place that you want to work in, because you're going to see that constantly. You might see hundreds of patients per day, whereas if you work in the ICU, you're going to see 1 to 2, maybe 3 patients per day. And you might be stuck with that same patient for a couple of weeks. But the good thing about that is that you will get to know your patients. You'll get to learn the disease process, and how you can take a patient from being extremely ill and critical to a more stable position. And you will learn your lab values a lot better than you would as an ED nurse. Because believe it or not, even though we draw a lot of labs in the ED, nurses are just like thinking about tasks in the ED more than anything because it's so busy. Whereas if you're working in the ICU, you can think more critically, in my opinion, at least. You can think more critically about what's truly going on with your patient and understand the disease process, where it's harder to do that in the ER. It can still happen, but it's harder because you're getting so many patients back to back. Right? I hope that answered your question. Right? Can let's see. All right. Can you say watercolor out loud? There, I said it. All right. I've been hiring BPO call center agents and working with them for many years. I love the Philippines and the hardworking people I hired. Me too. And my wife is Filipino. That's why I married one. Okay. Fan here from Toronto and hoping to move soon to California cause of watching your channel on YouTube. Thank you guys. If you guys are not following us on YouTube from TikTok or Instagram, go ahead and do that because we have these weekly live streams now and we are answering your questions. Whatever questions you guys have, we'll answer all of them. And also, I'm going to try to get back to those informational videos. It's a little bit harder because Monica and I are trying to start this e-commerce brand. So we're trying to juggle so many different things at the same time. But there's videos that I wanted to make, I've been wanting to make, like the average length of time that it takes for a new grad to find work in California specifically, because there's not much data that I've found for the United States in general. Like there's data from like newspaper sources or news sources, but there's no like concrete data of studies that have been done. So California does these studies, and some of the information I found is that the average student after graduating and passing their boards in California takes about 3 months. That's 60% of the students who graduate and pass their boards in California within 3 months are able to find work, and about 85 to 90% of them are able to find work within 6 months. So a lot of people ask me like, why am I not getting a job? And it's because you just need to be patient. It can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get a job. All right. Next. Okay, Erica, how do you choose where you get your products from? Okay, so this is a thing that I've been going back and forth with our mentor about. But okay, when I first started drop shipping, I search for my products from AliExpress. That's what everybody does. But then I realized AliExpress doesn't really tell you what are the hottest products. So what you should do is, this is the best way now, right? You go on TikTok. And I'm just talking about someone who wants to drop ship and someone, not someone who wants to start a brand. Because if you just want to drop ship, do not expect that drop shipping business to earn you money for years to come, because that's usually not how the drop shipping model works. Products that you're drop shipping, if you're doing it on a whim, they usually go out of style after a few weeks, a few months. So, but the way that you do it is you go on TikTok, because that's the best platform to search for your winning products. And what you do is, I would prefer you create a new account for this. You go on the top search bar and you type in something like uh, TikTok made me buy it, right? Or Amazon finds, or something like that. And you just keep scrolling till you find something that's really interesting, has a lot of engagements, and you like it, or you add it as a favorite. And then you keep doing that for many of the uh, videos that you're seeing. Over time, what you're going to notice is that TikTok is just going to feed you all of these winning products, these products that people are really engaging with. And then what you need to do is go back to AliExpress, try to find that product and see how much you can get it for and how much you could sell it for based on what you see other people selling it for. And then you just replicate their model. That's a cheesy way to drop ship. And I wouldn't recommend it, which is why I would recommend you find a product that not many people are selling, but will solve somebody else's problem, is something that you feel like people need, right? And if you can find something like that and turn it into a brand eventually, then you will make more money in the long run than someone who's just drop shipping. All right, we have let's see, more questions. Oh, what just happened? Oh, Monica, you're asking for.
Verify me.
Yeah,
Verify
okay.
me.
Okay, next question. Let's see. I love this because I can actually show people the questions. Okay, hi, former PACU RN that quit July 2020. I've been living off passive real estate income since. If I wanted to return to nursing, do I need a refresher course? Maybe somebody in the comment will be able to answer this better. But from what I've seen,
It
P- yeah, it
depends.
depends on where you're applying to. That's one. Sometimes employers won't even care about that, but it doesn't hurt. So it doesn't hurt to get additional education. So if I were you, I would get BLS, ACLS, PALS if you need to,
Okay.
and get any other type of education that you can. Take CEUs as well. So the more education you can have in between, the better. All right, next. Okay. Tech power user couple using social networking to the max. That's right. That's what we try. Okay.
Okay,
Let's see.
let's see if we can
Uh,
answer some questions. I'm trying to
all
get
right.
into
All
TikTok,
right.
but I
We
cannot
got a
see.
question from TikTok over
Yeah.
here.
Mm-hmm.
From let's see, Polo. Okay. He said he's a cath lab RN currently practicing in Buffalo, New York, and soon moving to Cali. If you move to Cali, then you should move to Northern California. And again, you're gonna have to choose a place away from the Bay Area if you want to make a lot of money and save a lot of money. Okay. All right. Next, let's see. By the way, my nose is I'm congested right now, so I don't sound like I normally do, and it's because I'm just congested. All right, Ari. Okay, I'm a new grad and I'm currently working in a peds clinic, and I don't see myself using my nursing skills at all. I want to get into a peds unit or NICU. Any tips? I keep applying and no luck. Your vids, love your vids. Okay, I mentioned this so many times before, but one thing that has helped a lot of the people that I've consulted in the past is Incredible Health. I will leave that in the description, the link to it in the description, so you guys can check that out. But honestly, Incredible Health is such a powerful website. And what it does is you create a profile there, and they're not sponsoring this video, by the way. So you create a profile there, and in the creation process of that profile, they will ask you what your education background is, what your experience is, and what kind of role you're interested in applying to, and what location. And then what they do is they look at your profile, they look at your resume, and then they pair you up with a hospital who's looking for an employee just like you. And they can find employees work within 14 days. Okay, that's their headline. We will find you work or get employed within 14 days, something like that. But
Uh,
trust me.
let's
Yeah.
answer some questions. There's only a few. I think there's only
Okay.
few. And on Instagram
Okay.
by
Instagram right here.
Brand Diggity.
Okay.
Is LinkedIn the best option for contacting nurse recruiters? I don't know if I suck, but they've been hard to come by.
Yeah. So someone on Instagram asked us if LinkedIn is the easiest or the best way to contact nurse recruiter. It's not the best way, but it's one of the ways. So you have to. It's like honestly, you have to throw everything at the kitchen sink. Like you have to do everything you possibly can till you get hired. And that's why I say there's not just one way that works for you. You have to do it all. And the more things you can do, the faster you're going to get a job. So, like I said, Incredible Health, LinkedIn, you reach out to your previous preceptors or clinical instructors. You reach out to any classmates or friends that you might have been close with in school. Ask them if they can help you find a job. And if you want to be bold, I've mentioned this previously. Walk up to the hospital or the unit that you're interested in working with or working in with your resume. I mean, that's as bold as you have to be willing to get in order to get a job. Okay. All right. Let's see. Next,
Do we
we just
have
had.
do
So
we have
I believe that they just.
delivery?
I think they just delivered some pizza to our house, and we have like this scarecrow that scares everybody. So it just went off. Okay. Hello. This is my first time catching the live. What is up? Okay. Welcome. Okay. Okay. Hi. First time watching the live. Thank you. All right. Next. Okay. I love that we can show the questions so you guys can see them. So if you guys are on TikTok or on Instagram, you can't see the questions they're asking. So I would recommend you go on is on YouTube actually, so you can see all those questions. All right, Jake. Hey, so I currently have an established landscaping company, but I also have my prereqs finished up for nursing. What would you recommend? Okay, what would you recommend? Business or nursing plus real estate as my end goal? Huh. Okay. So that honestly, I would say, okay, so recommend business or nursing plus real estate. I used to be a business major and I used to work in corporate America. I was laid off twice in corporate America. So I don't have much trust in corporate America. So if it were me personally, I would choose nursing and then use nursing and the money that I earned from nursing, the flexibility that nursing allows to create a real estate business. Um, and that's what I would do personally because I feel like nursing opens so many doors for you, whereas business, you know how many students graduate with business degrees every year? It's going to be a lot harder to get into that industry than it would be for nursing. Even though nursing school is one of the toughest things I've ever gotten into because I used to be like a 4.0 student as a business major, and then when I switched to nursing, I went from like 3.7, 3.6 to 3.2 by the time I graduated. So, yeah, but again, I would if it were me, I would recommend nursing and turn my nursing income into a business. All right, let's see. If you have time, I would like to discuss a collab with a tech company working on care management programs in California. Yeah, so you can go to my website and you can make an appointment if you want, because I'd be more than happy to do that. Okay, next, let's see. By the way, I've kept my license current, but let my BLS, ACLS PALs expire. Wanted to do agency occasionally. Yeah, you really should. I mean, hospitals and employers, they will pay for you to get those certifications, but if you have them already, I think it would be helpful because you can get like a whole bunch of education outside of whatever it is that you're doing at the moment, and it's just going to show them that you were trying to do something to make yourself more marketable. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Look at Monica. You want to answer? I'll be right back.
Oh,
Okay.
oh
I'm
gosh, what happened?
Coffee.
I don't know how to answer these questions.
Yeah, answer the question.
I'm a CT tech off and on my second injury since the pandemic. Any suggestions I can do that is less hard on my body? 25-year career, and this kind of sucks. Uh, do you want to stay in nursing? Because I would highly recommend. I love GI. I think it's one of the other options you can do because it's just I wanted to leave bedside when I was working in med surge in Sinai when I was working in New York, and I couldn't do bedside anymore. So I wait, you're a CT tech. Hold on, I don't even know what I'm saying. You gotta come back. I don't know how to answer these questions.
Okay. All right. All right. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I'm
All right,
gonna lose
answer
my
that
voice.
one,
I
please.
know it. Okay. I'm a CT tech
Yeah.
off on my second injury since pandemic. Any suggestions I can do that is less hard on my body? 25-year career, and this kind of sucks. So I mentioned it previously, um, but this is geared more towards nurses. So let me
Yeah.
see if I can gear it towards you. CT tech. Honestly, I don't know because I've never worked as a CT tech. I've never worked radiology, so I wouldn't know. But I would say is maybe you can ask in the comment section, and somebody who's been in that industry would be able to help you. But maybe reach out on. I know Facebook groups are something like I really rely on a lot of these Facebook groups because if you're a nursing student, for example, they have nursing student Facebook groups.
What about sonography?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
so that's
that's a
that's
good
true.
one too.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I have friends who have gotten into ultrasound,
Like an
or
ultrasound
sonography classes,
technician.
and they became sonographers.
Mhm.
That's actually a interesting field to get into because they make a lot of money too, and it's physically not as demanding as being a nurse.
Or you could be an echo tech. You go, you
Mhm.
bring your equipment at the bedside. I see them do it all the time. and you're sitting in your chair. You dim the lights,
Yeah.
and then you just do the sonogram of the patient's heart.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
let me see if I can share my screen. Let's see, because I actually have data for what the sonographers make at the Kaiser system. So while I'm answering the next question, I will see if I can pull that up, and I will, maybe we can look at the contract together too, so I can let you guys know what the Kaiser contract looks like for the techs and pharmacy techs and the ED techs and the floor techs, all those type of people, also phlebotomists. Let's see. Okay, next question. Uh, do you recommend a MSN degree for someone who wants to become an RN? You know what? It's gonna
It
depend on what your
depends.
ultimate goal is. If you want to get into administration, sure. But if you don't want to become an administrator, if you don't want to be a supervisor, or a manager, or a director, then why? Why would you get it? There's a lot of nurses these days that
Yeah.
just go straight for NP or FNP or MSN, but they don't really end up using those degrees. And a lot of the times they end up getting those degrees without any experience. So I would say get the experience first and then move on to getting an MSN if you actually want to do that. Okay. All right. Next, let's see. I'm streaming with StreamYard Friday at noon. It will be on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Friday. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm in a mentorship program, right? So it's very difficult for me to even make time unless you go to my calendar and you set up a time, because I have to dedicate 3 days of my week towards this mentorship program, and again, in addition to that, I'm also creating these YouTube videos, right? So I have to meet up with nurses that want to be on the YouTube channel, and I have to create content with them to collaborate with them. And then, in addition to that, I'm working on the website. I'm trying to work on the spreadsheets. We have children that we have to take care of, so we're like dropping them off in school and picking them up, and that's just like half of what we're doing. Like, in addition to that, so I mentioned in previous videos that the brand that we're trying to create is a jewelry. It's like a jewelry brand, but I'll try to make it as direct as possible with you guys. It's a clothing brand, but I can't specify what type of clothing brand. And we've been getting the models into our house so we can take photos of these models, right? So it's been taking up a lot of our time. So if you want to collaborate, you can go to the calendar and see if you can just request a time that works for both of us through there. All right. Let's see. How did you select a suitable mentorship program? Did you consider any specific criteria before enrolling in a mentorship program? And what steps did you take to discover the right one for your needs? Uh, Honestly, it was a recommendation from one of the nurses that I interviewed previously. And she's actually going to be in our next video on Sunday. This nurse, she's amazing. Like, that call lasted about maybe like 2 hours or so, and it was just that interesting of a phone call. Like, she ended up. Remember, she told me that she quit her job because she felt so overwhelmed by how she was being bullied at work and nothing was being done. So one day she just had enough of it, and she goes home and she tells her husband that she's quitting her job. And her husband's first reaction was like, "So what do you mean? What's the plan? Like, do you want to just go get some coffee? You want to just cool off?" She said, "No, I'm done. I just don't want to be a nurse anymore." And his response was, "All right, let's do it. That's what you want to do. Let's do it." Because he's very business oriented, entrepreneur oriented, and he looked at it as an opportunity for them to grow in another way. And she quit her job, and now she's making like five, six, $700,000 a year. Okay,
See
so
if you have any questions.
when I told her about Monica and my business idea that we want to start a like a fashion brand, she said, "Hey, you should follow this guy on Instagram. He really knows his stuff." And I've had several nurses that have worked with him in the past. Not only nurses, like lots of people from different professions. So I went on his Instagram and I saw that he was actually putting out super valuable content for free, which is like, yeah, you see a whole bunch of people always putting out valuable content for free, but this was on another level. And I couldn't believe it. And he was very transparent and honest. And he, like, every day he was doing on Instagram live and he would answer anyone's questions. So, um, as soon as I noticed that and the fact that he was just so open about it, I was like, you know what? Plus, he had like 900,000 Instagram followers, right? So, and he has a history of a proven track record. He had a company, and I'll tell you guys what it was. So, he had a company during, like, right before the Black Lives Matter movement, where we just post content on Instagram about like Black excellence and things like that. And he decided to come up with a brand where it was called Support Black Colleges or something to that effect. And when the Black Lives Matter movement happened, his business became a thing, like more than he expected it to. It was like huge, and celebrities were using his brand, and then they even implemented it into the NBA 2K games. So he ended up selling that company for well like $10 million, and he was the sole owner of the company. And then after that, he decided to just, because so many people asked him how he was able to go from like making $0 to selling a company for 10 million, and it was an apparel company. Everybody was asking him to give them advice on starting a company. So that's why he's been doing on Instagram, and then he created like a coaching program for it. And I'll be also completely honest. He charged 6,800 for the course, for the program. It's a 3 month program, and when he said it was 6,800, honestly, in my opinion, I said that's it. Like, I was expecting more, because I've interviewed nurses that pay 15, 25, $50,000 for mentorship programs. So when I had my first meeting with him, I I asked him, I was like, why is it that you are charging such a low price for this course? And he laughed and he said, I get this question all the time. And honestly, he says, I want to build a team that is extremely solid before I can increase my prices. And he wants to make sure that the method works for everyone and not just a select few. And I love the way that he thinks. And I was like, I give it up to you. And he, in addition to that, he said he's actually going to increase the prices from 6,800 to 9,800 and then 15,000. So I was like, in my mind, I'm like so glad I got in when it's only 6,800, because I feel like it's going to be worth a lot more, as our return is going to be worth a lot more than what we invested into it. All right. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
Should we answer one from
Yeah.
Insta?
Yeah.
Okay. A
Instagram.
little bit interested.
Yeah.
It's
Instagram
from
over here.
31 Rippy 123. Non-nursing related, but
Okay.
what do you think about Airbnb rental arbitrage?
Oh, Airbnb rental arbitrage.
Yeah.
So there was a nurse actually on Instagram who used to do that all the time, and I was trying to get her to interview her. By the way, that's when you like reach out to landlords and you tell them that you want to rent out their space. If they like they say, let's say it's a vacant apartment, you want to rent it out for them, and you charge the tenant the money, they pay you, and then you pay the landlord, and you keep the difference. Um, in my opinion, I haven't done it and I will not do it, because I feel like there's, for me, because you can craft your own lease. I get that. But for me, I don't want to take any risk of like having someone else potentially damaging someone else's apartment. I know you can get insurance and there's many, so I don't know all of the nuances of it. It's possible to make a lot of money, because I know a nurse that did that, and I get, like I said, I was trying to interview
This
her.
person said that they know someone that makes $1 million a year.
Yeah, it's true. It's possible. It's just like
That's lucrative,
wholesalers.
huh?
Yeah, it's just like wholesalers. Like, let's say you're somebody who reaches out to a homeowner, and you become the middleman between the homeowner and someone who's a buyer, and you just keep the difference when the house is sold. You're just like basically assigning a contract to somebody else. That's what it's called. You can make a lot of money off of that, but I'm not as passionate about real estate as I am about e-commerce, which is why I'm more focused about with e-commerce than I am with real estate. Because with e-commerce, like, I could be in another country and running my Shopify store. So that's why I'm more focused on doing something like that. All right. Next question. Let's see. You may not know the answer to this, Jason, but I am a Canadian nursing student and I want to become a CRNA. As an international student, is it possible? Do I need to be a US citizen? Yes, you need to be a US citizen and you need to go to CRNA school or get into the program here in the US in order to become a CRNA. It's still possible though. So, but I would say I know many nurses that moved from Canada to the US. So do that, take that route, work in an ICU, and you would need to work in an ICU in the United States, from my understanding. But if you can find a program that accepts your critical care experience from Canada, that would be ideal because then you can get into the CRNA program immediately after getting into the US. But I highly doubt it. So come to the US first of all, and then you can get into the program. Okay. Oh, sorry. And you said US citizen. So resident versus citizen. You can do it as a US resident. So you don't have to be a citizen to do that.
I wasn't a U.S. citizen when I became a nurse.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I don't even know about US residency. You might not even have to be a US resident. You would have to look into that. I'm not 100% sure. All right. In your mentorship program, did you buy a new Ferrari?
He wishes.
Yeah, no, I didn't have to do all that, thankfully, and I would not. Honestly, I would not do it.
Yeah, our kids won't fit in there.
Yeah, no, we need a family car. Um, okay, but he just wants us to hold ourselves accountable and meet when we are scheduled to meet, which is what I'm doing, and I try not to set anything aside. Oh, I try to set anything aside that I need to set aside just so I can make these meetings. Even if we're like in the car and we're traveling somewhere, I will join the meetings if I have to. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Good to see you. Here's another question. Hello, I am graduating from BSN school soon, and I wanted to ask how long should I work in the ICU before you would recommend doing ICU travel nursing? From what I've gathered, all of the nurses who have traveled, or not all, I will say the majority of them, say that you need at least 1 year and preferably 2 years of experience, regardless of whatever industry or specialty you're trying to travel in. It would be preferred that you have 2 years because that would actually not only make you a more knowledgeable nurse, but also more marketable as well. Because when employers like staffing agencies are looking for nurses and they see you have at least 2 years of experience, that's going to look better on them because it makes them look like they're hiring nurses that will be safe for the patients. Okay. Erica. Oh, she just answered the question right there. I got a NICU position right after nursing school. I emailed the manager directly and checked it every so often. If they say you need a certain amount of experience, then do it and follow up. That's right. You got to do whatever you can to get these jobs, guys. Okay. What type of lifestyle I can live as a nurse in California? And if I can make $150 working or 150 working 6 day, 12-hour a day now as a truck driver, is it still worth it becoming a nurse? If you're making 150K working 6 days, 12-hour shifts, that's too much. If you were doing that as a nurse, let's see. Let me share my screen. Okay. Let's see. Can I share my screen? I hope I can. Present. Okay. Let's do this together. Share screen. Okay. Share. Window entire screen. Okay. Here we go. I'm gonna just share my screen with you guys so I can show you exactly what it is. All right. I hope you can see this. Monica, can you join the StreamYard? Let me see. Can you guys see that? Oh, you know what? Let me remove myself. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go into my spreadsheets. Let me just share my spreadsheets with you guys. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's say you're working 150 hours. You're making 150,000, right? And you're working 12 hours. So I'm gonna do it like this: insert one above per year. Okay, Monica, can you join so I can? Can you guys see this? By the way, let me know in the
Join
comments
what?
section. No, no. Okay, can you guys see what I'm writing? By the way,
How
I
do
just
I?
want I just want you to let me know in the comments section if you guys can see that, please. Those are you of you on YouTube. Tell me if you can see my screen when I am typing on the spreadsheet. You need to. Oh, you have your phone up here. I see. Okay, great. Okay, you can see it. Okay, all right. So if you're making 150,000 per year, right, and you're working 6 days per week, 12-hour shifts. Okay, that is okay. Days per week. Sorry, let's do days per week. Shift hours. Okay, all right, per day. All right, this might be kind of boring for some of you, but I like numbers. Okay, so days per week 6 hours per day 12, right? So what I'm gonna do is let me bring this uh, down here. Okay, so that means that you are working this times this. You're working 72 hours per week. Hours per week. Okay, now if I'm making this much per year and I'm working this much per week, that means that my hourly actual hourly rate is this divided by this divided by 52. You're making $40 per hour. Okay? I mean, let me remove this for now. Okay, you're making $40 per hour. Do you honestly believe that working for $40 per hour is worth it compared to making $100 per hour as a nurse? That means that you could work half the time as a nurse than you're currently working and make the same amount. So, for example, let's say I'm making $80 per hour as a nurse, right? I could be working instead of 72 hours per week. Let me share my screen again. Okay. If I'm working 72 hours per week, let's say I work half of that. So this divided by 2 is 36 hours per week. And then I only have to make, okay, this times 2. Okay, that's essentially what I'm doing. Okay, so if I make 72 hours per, let's say if I get paid $72 per hour, right? That means that I only have to work half of what you are working to make the same amount, um, which is essentially what I tell people who want to move to California. If you're going to be working here, you could be working less, making the same amount of money that people are making in other states and working more, right? And let me go back to here. So if I were you, I would totally give up that job and I would dedicate all of my time to becoming a nurse and working less hours. I work 20 hours a week right now and I still make over $100,000 a year. Actually, I will go over our YouTube earnings in a future video, maybe a short, where last year I think we made like $13,000 for the entire year. This year, guys, we don't make a lot of money from YouTube, okay? But this year we're on track to making about $32,000. So if you look at it that way, like we're growing exponentially, which I love. That means that we could potentially be earning 60,000, 64,000 next year and 120,000 the following year if we continue this way. But if you combine our YouTube income with the 20 hours per week that we average each, so Monica averages 20 per week, I average 20 per week. This year we're on track to earn, I believe it's like 320 something thousand dollars for the year. So guys, come on, like that's you need a job which will allow you to work on your hobbies, your passions. Sure, you can be passionate about nursing, and if that's what you really want to be passionate about, then at least do it in a place that's going to pay you a lot of money, because I interviewed Eric previously, Lambo, the guy with the Lamborghini, and he's like so passionate about what he does, which is why he works so often. And he makes $600,000 per year. And people think that he's overworking himself, but those who think that don't know him. He loves working. It's an obsession for him, and I mean, to each their own. If that's what he loves to do, then by all means. If you are working this many hours as a truck driver, you could be making $300,000 a year instead. Okay. All right. Next. Hi, I'm from the Philippines. Do you know any nursing agency that I may apply so I can work in Kaiser Permanente? I don't off the top of my head. There's several nurses that I've spoken to who have gone through agencies, but it's not necessary because I've spoken to nurses who haven't gone through agencies and have been able to get work over here. So there's a video that will be coming out. I believe it's in like 2 weeks of a nurse that went from the Philippines to Abu Dhabi to Canada and soon to the United States. And he didn't use an agency. All
All
right.
right. Instagram question.
All right. Instagram question.
Okay. What are niche certification pays the most? This question is by 4N SUV. Um,
Okay. So
yeah.
what niche for nursing pays the most?
Or certification.
Or
pays the
certification.
most. Not asking about master's
Yeah.
degrees.
I've seen many of these questions asked before, and it really depends. But one that I get time and time again that pays really well is OR nursing. Nurses that work in the OR, especially if you're a travel OR nurse, you're going to be making top dollar. So, yeah, look into OR nursing. That's one of them. Then honestly, if you're working in Northern California, it doesn't even matter what specialty you work in, you're going to be making a lot of money. But CRNAs, obviously, they're the highest paid. You can be a CRNA in any state and make a lot of money. Flight nurses make a lot of money, so you can also look into that. And what else? Yeah, no, there's just ICU nurses make decent money. So if you're a travel ICU nurse, you can make a lot of money. But if you can specialize in like cath lab, um, and like those very very like you know specific specialties that are in critical care, you can make a lot of money. All right, let's see what else. How do you feel about getting an ADN? Do it. I was so against it when I first got into nursing because I thought that every nurse was supposed to get their BSN. But if I were to go back now,
Depends on which state, though.
yeah, it depends. But the majority
Yeah.
now, like if you're in New York State or you're in, let's say maybe Washington State. I don't know about Washington State, but New York State definitely. Maybe Massachusetts. They are really going hard on making sure that nurses are getting their BSN. But if you're in almost any other state in the country, they're like bleeding for nurses right now. It doesn't matter if you have an ADN or a BSN. Get whichever one will accept you into the program first. Right. Do you think LPN bridge programs are looked down upon rather than people who get their ADN or BSN? Stop thinking about what other people are going to think of you. Do what works best for you, what's more financially, uh, you know, like feasible for you, and what just makes the most sense for you and your family. If it means that you need to go from a LPN bridge program to RN to become an RN, then do it. I've never actually seen or spoken to a nurse who frowns upon someone who was an LPN first and then became an RN. Actually, we would commend you for it because we're like, wow, you kept going. You were an LPN, you got your LPN degree and your license, and now you're an RN. Wow, that's really cool. So don't think that someone's gonna frown upon you having an LPN license before you became an RN. Just do it. Look at that. Join the IB team. That's another one actually. That's amazing. I interviewed a nurse who is an IV, he's a pick line nurse down in Houston, Texas, and he made like 150K last year, something like that. So, and it's not physically demanding. So that's another one that you can get into. Okay, next. Do MRI techs in California make good money? How much is the average pay per hour? You know what? Let me see if I can find it now because yes, they make a lot of money, especially if they're in a Kaiser system, and they're easily gonna make like $100,000 a year. Okay, let's see research. I'm gonna see if I can share contracts with you guys. Okay, let me share my screen. Let's see. Okay, share screen. Window. Window. Here we go. Share. All right, here we go. So these are my contracts, guys. Let's see. We have Washington, California contracts, and you know what? I forgot to actually. Is this the one? I was gonna save the latest contract from for the text, and I believe I have it somewhere. I just don't remember where I saved it. So I will show you guys the old one for now, and then maybe in the future, a future video, I can show you the latest one. Okay, let me see. MRI. I hope you guys can see this. Okay. Uh, Here we go. MRI technologists and the Kaiser system. Can you see this, guys? Like, this is ridiculous, right? $57 an hour. And then if you're a MRI technologist too, this is probably someone with like at least a year or two of experience. $61 an hour. Then we have up to $72 per hour. And it goes all the way up to $78 per hour. All right. What was the other one? CT tech. Okay. So CT. Uh, Let me see if they have CT first of all. I'm going to show you guys how much the CT techs get paid. Um, Computer. Let's see. Sorry, I'm like doing this off the cuff, but I need to look for CT techs. Let's see. It's not. I forgot what name it goes under. Let me look for it. Uh, no. Keep going. Keep going. Okay. You know what? I will find it some other day and I will show you guys. But you know what? Oh, sonographer. Let's look up sonographer. Okay. Sonographer. Diagnostic sonographers make so much money, guys. Come on. Come on. I know I could easily just go to the wage schedule and look it up that way, but I'm too lazy. Okay. Um, Dedicated lab sonographer. Look at that. $60 per hour. And all the way up to $88 per hour. That's insane. Okay. That's how much you could be making as a sonographer. So like I said, if you want something that's low, that requires less physical work and labor, then look into something like that. All right. Okay. Next, let's see. Brandon Johnson, IV or phlebotomy for those patients whose veins are super hard to find and doing the ultrasound guided injections. I do ultrasound guided IVs all the time. It's actually like one of my favorite things because in the ER, like it's just we got to work quick. And a lot of the nurses who are having difficulty getting IVs on patients who are like previous, they would do like IV drug injections. Those are the type of patients that I would end up putting the IVs in and I use the ultrasound machine. But okay, so that's our son in the background. All right. Been working in med surg area for a little over 3 years. What other areas do you recommend RNs experiencing burnout to work in? Bedside or non-bedside role suggestions would be great. Honestly, bedside will like burn any nurse out. So yeah, as far from the bedside as you can be, the better it will be for you if you're already burned out working at the bedside. Um, that's okay. He sees all these contraptions all over the place, and he's like he doesn't know what to do. So advice, you can do advice nursing. You can work in research. So that's something that you can look into. You can work as let's see, you can work in an insurance company. They are always hiring nurses because nurses understand patients and you know what? I've interviewed nurses who have done more like the legal side of nursing. So, uh, there's like nurse attorneys and there's just like so many different types of legal nurses that you can think of. You can get into a role like that where you might be working with an attorney who needs your professional advice when it comes to dealing with a case. You can provide them counseling in that field. So that's one thing. But man, there's just so many different areas where nurses can work in that, like even Eric Lambo, the one with the $600,000 car, the Lamborghini, he works for Tesla. So it's just about like finding work through ways that you would have never imagined. He actually ended up getting that job through LinkedIn. So maybe you want to research a company that you're interested in working for and look for them in LinkedIn and reach out to their hiring manager or something like that, or a recruiter on their specific company website or a company profile.
All right. Let's answer one of the Instagram questions.
Yeah.
Um, is it worth to go back to school for CRNA or just make bags with travel contracts?
Oh, worth it go back to
For
CRNA?
CRNA school or just make bags with travel contracts? That is by B.
Well,
Mhm.
it okay. So if I were an ICU nurse and I had enough experience to go into becoming a CRNA, that's what I would have personally done, because as a CRNA, then you can work in any state in the country and make over $250,000 per year easily. But right now, and also I should say, right now, travel nurses are not making as much money as they used to. That's why you don't see that many news stories of nurses bringing in like $10,000 a week, because it's not happening anymore. The pandemic is not what it used to be back at the height of it. So for longevity purposes, I would say just become a CRNA. However, there are still nurses out there that are making a killing as travel nurses, and those are strike nurses, because there are always nurses going on strike across the country, and the hospitals need to fill these positions while the nurses are on strike. And I'm not someone who's gonna like, you know, be preaching for you to go work as a strike nurse, but I am someone who preaches that nurses go wherever the money is, right? So if that's where the money is, I'm pro union. But if the money is being a strike nurse, then go ahead and do it. Because at the end of the day, a hospital system like the one that I work for and Monica works for, even if we strike and strike nurses come in, they're still going to need to pay. They're still going to need permanent nurses. So at the end of the day, we're going to end up getting better contracts anyway, and we're going to go back to our jobs. So go ahead and find jobs like that if you still want to do travel nursing. All right. What do you think about Airbnb rental arbitrage? Okay, so I answered that question. Yeah, yeah, $1 million per month. I honestly I believe that's possible. And if you're someone who wants to own real estate and you're open to, like being like the middleman for the landlord or the homeowner and the tenant, then go ahead and do that. Hola, saludos desde Buenos Aires. Whoa, Buenos Aires, that's cool. By the way, I speak Spanish, guys. I don't know if you know this, but I'm Dominican. I have some congestion right now, so it sounds weird. But I speak Spanish. Yo hablo español. Okay. And when I start speaking Spanish at work, people are like, what? Like, for people who have not met me before, they're like, how does this black dude know how to speak Spanish? It's because I'm from the Dominican Republic and we speak Spanish in the Dominican Republic. Oh my gosh, did people actually send us money? Okay, hold on. I gotta see this. Okay. Oh, okay. Derek Yasmar, what do you think about nurses with MSN leadership but working as staff nurse? Like, I mentioned this earlier. There's so many nurses that have their nurse practitioner license, they have their FMP, they have their MSN, and they don't actually have experience in that industry, and they stay at the bedside. It's not uncommon. It happens all the time. And I actually work with like at least 10 to 15 NPs or FNPs who are working in the ED as staff nurses. So unless you're choosing to do something with that, I don't see what's the point of getting that degree.
What does this mean? 1K likes, does that mean we have?
Whoa, we have 1,000 likes on TikTok. What? Damn,
Yeah,
thank you guys.
I don't know how to use TikTok, guys.
All
I
right,
don't know if there's any
let's see.
comments. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
so
I'm
all right,
sorry
so
if
we're going live
yeah,
on
on
TikTok as
every
well.
platform, so we don't
Yeah.
know.
We have to figure out how to use. I feel like oh, comment. There we go.
Comment? I don't know.
No,
No.
guys, I feel
Yeah.
like a grandpa right now using TikTok because
Yeah.
I've never actually went live on TikTok, so I have to understand how it works, and I'm pretty quick to learn, so we got to figure that one out. Okay, but we have people on Instagram as well. See if they have any questions for us on Instagram. All right, next. All right, for the love of Wigglesworth, that's a cool handle that you got. Thanks so much for checking. All right. Do epidemiologists make good money? Are jobs hard to get? You know, epidemiologists, if you're working for the government, you're not going to be making too much money, but it depends how far up in the government you're going. But if you're working, uh, and also you're saying epidemiologists, or are you talking about nurses that work in epidemiology? Because there's a big difference. If you're an epidemiologist, that means you're actually you're a doctor, like um, you're a doctor in the field, right? But if you're a nurse that's working in epidemiology, you don't have an advanced degree to that point. So you would be making a lot less money than someone who's a doctor working in epidemiology. But I, you know, I've known nurses who work in the field, but they don't make as much money as the bedside nurses. You can make anywhere depending on the state, but if you're in California, Northern California specifically, you would be making anywhere from, like, let's say $100,000 to 120, 130,000 average. Okay, it could be less, it could be more than that. I booked an appointment with you. Thank you. All right, cool. All right, let's see. What is she doing? Oh, so I forgot what that question was about.
Guys, I am all over the place, okay? Because I'm trying to get all these questions answered on every platform.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to be a mom, and we had a long day, so
Yeah.
I was also hungry, so I was eating.
Yeah. Yeah. So if someone says that Monica seems disinterested, she's trying to manage too many things at the same time. Okay. Actually, and for those of you that don't know, I have a teleprompter, and I'm looking at myself right now while we're talking. I had it below right now because we have a laptop here. I don't know if you can see that. So I had it below on the laptop, but I just moved my window up so I can just look at myself while I'm talking and answering questions. All right. Next. Okay. Do you have a tip or tips for new grad nurses trying to get into Kaiser in the Sacramento area? It's pretty much all of the same things that I've said in the past. And I feel like a broken record, but I will repeat it, okay? Because it's really important. Go on LinkedIn. You can reach out to the nurse managers through there. Uh, Go to what is incrediblehealth.com, or actually just click on the link in the description below this video. They're not sponsoring me, but it helps when you click on it because they've sponsored me before. So if you can click on that link, they would actually know it's coming from me. Secondly, you can Incredible Health, you can create your profile there. Third, what you can actually do is you can go on all of the job boards and apply for a job. I wouldn't recommend that way. Fourth, reach out to instructors, reach out to friends. Fifth, you can go on the website for the hospital you're trying to apply for and do it through there. But I feel like that's also very, it takes too long. However, it's not something that I would pass up. I would still do it. Uh, Third, what else would I do? Oh, like I said before, I would go to the place that I'm trying to apply to with my resume and a cover letter, and I would apply that way too. If you can, just do it. You might get a manager that shift that will give you an opportunity to like interview on the spot. Okay, I actually have a question right here. Which was this one?
Man, I need to see one question over
Yeah.
here
Yeah,
on
on
Insta.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because I got kicked out. I got booted out.
Okay. let's see. Are there any other professions at Kaiser that make more than nurses besides a physician and CRNA, PAs, etc.? At Kaiser, NPs make a lot of money. If you can get a job as an NP, you would make a lot of money. Let me see if I can move this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Man, I'm kind of lost.
It's okay. Let's focus on YouTube because that's what we have now.
Yeah, I don't wanna skip out on all these questions, but
Okay.
there was some questions, some good questions here.
Okay, so professions at Kaiser that make more than nurses. Yeah, so like I said, um, if you can get a job in any position as an NP for the Kaiser system, you don't even have to be a CRNA. You would make a higher salary or higher wage than a bedside nurse, but they don't get overtime like the bedside nurses do. And this is why, and actually, it doesn't even have to just be a bedside nurse. It could be any nurse that's part of the
Okay, well,
union contract. That's a nurse that includes a nurse that works in a clinic, that includes a nurse that works in an advice line, just answering phones and triaging patients over the phone. Okay.
okay.
We have a question.
By Vince JPEG, what are some common ways you see nursing students make money while in the program?
Oh,
You can work as a CNA,
dude, yes. Okay,
yeah,
so yeah, you
medical
know what?
assistant.
Let me tell you, if I could go back in time though, as a nursing student, what I would have done and what I've actually recommended to this nurse who's currently a nursing student who's currently enrolled, because okay, so I made a video about how this nurse called Stephanie Beggs and Nurse in the Making are making tens of millions of dollars with their study guides. That's what I would have done as a nursing student, is take like very deliberate notes with the intention to monetizing it. So, if you're not a great artist, it doesn't matter. You can hire an artist, an illustrator on Fiverr, but make sure you take meticulous notes throughout nursing school so that you can try to monetize that. And what you do is you then go on TikTok and you can like make videos like study with me, as you're writing these notes for nursing school. And people are going to ask you in the comments, like, hey, do you sell this? Like, this is really cool. And make an Etsy account if that's what it takes. I would prefer a website, but Etsy is great too. Create an Etsy account and just put the notes on there as a PDF format or something like that, because then you'll be able to sell it that way. And yeah, so that was one of the questions, interesting question that we got on Instagram. All right, next question here. Let's see. Okay, so that was the question from Derek right there that I answered previously about being an MSN. Okay, let's see. Are there any other professions at Kaiser that make more than nurses? Okay, I answered that one. Next. I don't know you. Oh, you didn't know I was Dominican. Yeah, cool. Yes, I am. Believe it or not.
Latino power.
The funny thing is, I have this story about when Monica and I first met. Her mom, the first time I was gonna go to her house, she told me I should bring some plátano to the house. Okay, but yeah, no, like we're all so cool. I love her family. Okay. What do you feel about nurses going straight to insurance nursing without bedside experience? Do whatever makes you happy, honestly. Like, I remember when I was at New York Presbyterian and there was this one nurse who worked in the ER for like maybe half a year, like 6 months. And that was her first job, right? And she quit because she said it wasn't for her and she got into sales. So, and I'm talking about like healthcare sales. So she would go and she do in services for healthcare related products, and that's companies are hiring for that as well. So you can actually reach out to companies that are selling equipment. Like, let's talk about like the Pure Wicks that are a big thing nowadays. That they suction the urine from patients like private areas, and and, like the cat new H like Plurvac systems and catheters, anything you can think of, reach out to these companies or go on their websites. They're probably hiring nurses, because if you don't want to do a bedside position, that's something interesting to get into. So consider that. All right, let's see. What do we have next? My nose is so stuffed, guys. I'm sorry. Will you ever interview the nurse that makes $800,000 a year
We
in your
wish.
hospital? Guys, I wish I could interview her. And for those of you that don't know, this is a nurse that works 365 days of the year, 16-hour shifts. I made a video titled something like How Nurses Can Make More Than Doctors in
Mhm.
California, or something like that. And the thumbnail was $800,000 per year. That nurse literally does make over $800,000 per year. And it's because I can't really like give you all of the details, right? But just imagine you come into work and you are in a position where you are not doing much physical labor, and you could be making $120, $130 per hour minimum, would you not do that, right? Would you not work a lot of hours to make more money and reach a goal, financial goal that you've been trying to reach?
Mhm.
So, but the thing is, like just like Eric, the $600,000 car guy, she's super passionate about her job though. Like she eats, breathes, lives everything her
Nursing.
job. She loves it, and she's extremely intelligent. Okay, and like if that's what she wants to do, that's on her. But she would not want to participate in anything public.
I've seen so many people comment on. I don't know, I just seen it on TikTok comments whatsoever. They say, "Oh, I make this much money," and I'll comment on their comment and I'll say, "Can we interview you?" And they'll be like, "No, I just want my peace." And I absolutely agree with them. Not
Yeah.
everybody wants to discuss finances, and finances is taboo. And it's not since recently
Yeah.
did we all start talking about financial literacy and pay transparency.
Yeah.
So not everybody wants to talk about money like that, and there's valid reasons. Excuse me, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
see if we have any more questions
Yeah.
on
Yeah. And
Instagram.
I feel like maybe I should
Okay.
also, yeah, I want to show you guys my spreadsheet too, because I want to show you how much these hospitals are paying out here though. That's not
Okay.
something that I really talk about often
Can you?
anymore.
Okay, you want to do
Let's
one
see.
question over
Yeah,
here?
I'm
I
gonna
feel like
answer a question real quick.
can you give an insight on Kaiser pensions for RNs?
Yeah. So the pension, okay, I interviewed a nurse before who um told me her grandmother retired from Kaiser after about 30 years or so with a pension of $2 million. Okay, so that's how much money you can make if you decide to work till you retire. The thing is, though, with me and Monica, we're not thinking that long term because we don't plan to be working at least in the Kaiser system, or if not, just like as nurses overall, until we retire. That's not our goal, but the pension system is great. However, you know how like they say you get vested in certain pension systems for after like 5 years of working there. Well, here's the thing. If you're working for Kaiser, you have to retire after you're 55, and what they do is they take into account the last 10 years of your work with them to determine how much money they should pay out. So if you're planning to work with them for until you retire, then it's definitely a great way to supplement your 401k and any additional investments you may have, and social security as well. All right. So highest cost of living and pay in cities. Okay, I'm gonna share with you guys our salaries from the different hospital systems. So normally I sell this spreadsheet, but I'm gonna show it to you guys for free. Let's see if I can share this screen. Let's see. Sorry. Again, this is like I don't often do this, so let me see. And the reason why I use this spreadsheet often is because I want to know exactly how much someone else's worth is based on the location or the hospital they want to move to. Okay, so share screen. Here we go. Window, and I'm gonna share this one. Here we go. Okay, so let me know if you guys can see this.
Sorry.
Okay. Let me go down. Okay, so let's say for that question that I got previously, right? You said you were working. Someone mentioned in the previous comments that they were working 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week. That's 72 hours a week. So let's just say, for example, you're working 40 hours per week in whatever hospital system you want to look at, right? And you have even, let's say, 0 years of experience. And you will likely start off as an evening shift or night shift employee. This is how much money you would be making based on the hospital system that you're going to be working in. So, if you're working at Stanford, you're making $186,000 working 40 hours per week. Whereas if you would have been a truck driver, you'd be working 72 hours per week, making $150,000, right? And let's say right here. And another thing I should mention, this doesn't even include all of the ways you can increase your income, because it doesn't include the sick time you will take off that you will be paid for. It doesn't include the hourly rate that will be increased during working holidays. It doesn't include the 401k. It doesn't include the 401k match. It doesn't include any of those things. So, this is how much money you can make based on the hospital system that you're going to be working in. So, if you're working at Stanford, you're making $186,000 working 40 hours per week. Whereas if you would have been a truck driver, you'd be working 72 hours per week, making $150,000, right? And let's say right here. And another thing I should mention, this doesn't even include all of the ways you can increase your income, because it doesn't include the sick time you will take off that you will be paid for. It doesn't include It doesn't include the vacation that you're going to be taking. All right. Do you have
Oh no, no, I was just trying to read some
so if you
comments.
guys are on Instagram and you're on TikTok, I'm talking about the spreadsheet that I have on my screen. It's on YouTube. So if you want to see it, it's on YouTube. So maybe I don't know if anybody has any questions about the spreadsheet in general. Maybe I can answer.
I was trying to see if I can put
Yeah.
myself, like if I can pin my own, I don't know, because I cannot open this in another device
Yeah.
because I wanted to be the moderator, like my
I
account
see. I
on like
see. Well, we
I don't
can
know
we
how to
can
do
figure that
this.
out another day. But
I
yeah.
don't know. I feel like
Yeah. Okay, because this one we have our
yeah.
largest audience on YouTube right now. There's
Hmm.
only 5 going
You
on
guys will
Instagram
just
right
have
now.
to listen and
Guys, if you
yeah,
want to watch this, you should watch it on YouTube
yeah,
because we have all of the information that I'm
yeah.
talking about is actually they're able to see it on YouTube. All right. So let me just scroll down and see if you guys have any questions regarding that. I'm going to just continue.
Yeah.
Kaiser encourages their employees to earn acronyms. Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I would say yes and no to that because even though you may earn your acronyms, you're not going to get a position in the place that you want to be in, right? So doesn't really matter. Does having an MSN will less likely get you hired as a staff nurse? Absolutely not. Actually, that probably will make you more marketable. So get your MSN if that's what you really want to do. Like if you just want to go back to school and you really want to get an MSN, then go ahead and do that. Let's see. All right, next question. Let's see. Maybe you can read. Can you read the comments in the YouTube live? Okay.
Oh,
Kaiser, yeah, go ahead. Kaiser and Sutter encourages employees. Yeah, sorry, read that. Are you all from Cali? Oh, all the people on here, I don't know. I am not from Cali. I'm from the Dominican Republic. Moved to the United States when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Lived in New York my entire life up until like 7 years ago when we decided to move here to California. Hello, love from India. What's up? Okay. SoCal Travel RN and part time at KP. Wow, that's like So we have a nurse that I interviewed previously. His name is Hervé, and he was actually, well, he I believe he was commuting or he was working in either southern or northern. He was living in Southern California, and then now commuting to Northern California. Also, Eric does that. He takes a plane from Southern California to Northern California where he works. He works at the Tesla factory and he also works for Sutter in one of the Sutters in the Bay Area. Okay. How could we get your assistance in finding high-paying nursing opportunities in certain metropolitan areas such as Boise, Idaho? Okay, so I have a spreadsheet that goes over the highest paying cities when you take your cost of living into account and also the crime data. It takes the crime data into account. It like every city in the United States that's reported to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So the data is actually coming to me from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I also get the housing data from Zillow. So Zillow has done a good job, and this is what a lot of real estate companies use: is they get the market data from Zillow and they use it for their own research. So I gather all of that information, and then I'll tell you also what your after tax income is going to be based on the city that you're going to move to, and based on how much your expected mortgage would be if you look at the median mortgage prices or home prices in the city that you're looking to move to. So I do all of that. I do consultations. Again, consultations take up a lot of my time, which is why I don't actually market them so often. And I'll be honest with you guys. If you guys want me to create a program that teaches you step one from not being a nurse to becoming a nurse, graduating as a nurse, getting your license, and then finding a job in the highest paying hospital system or location, to then also using your money wisely and becoming financially independent, I can create that course, and I can do that because it would be, in my opinion, less work ultimately than having to set aside an hour of my time or 30 minutes, 45 minutes of my time for like, $150 for that time. Because as much as that may sound like a lot to you guys, but I know plenty of people that are charging tens of thousands of dollars for this. Like honestly, there's this one guy who I've been following for a while. His name is Dan Henry, and he used to he came from like being poor, working as a pizza boy to owning a pizza restaurant to now being one of the best marketers in the world, and he sells one day. If you want to spend one day with him, he sells that for $150,000. That's how over time you have to think about how valuable is your time, because in my opinion time is the most important thing. It's not money, it's time, and that's why we're all trying to buy our time back. If someone were to come to you, and I got this from this guy that I've been following for a while. His name is Myron Golden, and he's on YouTube as well. He always talks about how people always equate time with money, and I don't like to do that because it's not the same thing, and he says it too. He says, if someone were to come to you and offer you $1 million, would you take it? Everyone would say yes. But if then someone said, okay, I'm going to give you $1 million today, but that if I give you this $1 million, you're only going to have 6 months to live, would you take it? No. And the reason for that is because we all value our time more than we do the money, right? So at the end of the day, I have to price this in a way that makes you understand that I value my time. I have so many other things that I have going on that it's very difficult for me to set aside what it is that I'm doing. And honestly, guys, if I just dropped this YouTube channel and I focused on e-commerce, Monica and I would be making millions by now. Okay. But I don't set it aside because I love helping nurses or people who aren't making it, who are not doing well in their lives right now and want to see some kind of improvement in their lives financially, who are stuck in a rut right now, or who have grown up low income and feel like there's no way out. That was me and Monica. Like man, all the stories I've told where we felt like we would never get out of that, but me deep inside, I knew that if we just kept pushing and working hard, we could be in a position where we didn't have to feel obligated to like buy ramen noodles because we didn't have enough money to pay our rent. And we're now at a point where we don't even think about money anymore. I mean, imagine if you could live your life knowing that you don't have to think about how much something is going to cost anymore. Like I told you, we paid $6,800 for this mentorship program. And in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, this is cheap. Like, I would have never been able to think like that 10, 15 years ago. I would have thought this guy is crazy for charging me $6,800. But I realized how valuable it is to have someone who knows what it is that you want to do, who has already gone through the steps you want to take and teach you exactly how to do it. One is going to cost you less in the long run if you do that. And two, you'll get there much faster. So we want to get there fast, and we want to do it the right way without having to spend most of our money. And if you guys feel like you want to get to the point where Monica and I are at, and you don't want to make the mistakes along the way, then I'd be more than happy to help you. And like I said, I might create a course. And another thing that that course might include is how to start different businesses for nurses. Because I interviewed Tasha. She's one of the nurses that has a video that went like semi-viral. It's got like 410,000 views on our YouTube channel, and she owns a med spa. And Monica spoke with her recently and told her that we're interested in creating a course. And Tasha said she would be more than happy to be part of that course where she could show nurses how to start their own med spa business as well. So that's one thing that I will include. I will also try to include maybe like a financial advisor that could help guide you guys through the process of starting your investing in your 401ks, or starting a Roth IRA, or investing your after tax income in a brokerage account. Like I know how to do that, but maybe a financial advisor would be better suited for something like that. And then I can also show you how to monetize it in different ways. Like I could show you how to start an e-commerce business, because this is what Monica and I are working on. But I have drop shipped in the past, so I might talk about that. And yeah, so let me know if you guys are interested in something like that. And again, I might actually take off the consultations, the one-on-one consultations that I provide on our website eventually, like sooner rather than later, because I feel like it takes up too much of our time. Okay.
I'm trying.
Thank you for answering my questions. You're welcome. Bedside and P's. Yeah. Okay. Compliance and admin make a lot of money, about equal to MD or nurses. It really depends. Yes and no, because
Yeah, go ahead.
it depends. So, on average, yes, you're absolutely right. But if you're in Northern California, then the nurses at the bedside are going to be making way more than most of the administrators. And um, yeah, the doctors though, the doctors they're always going to make more money than nurses unless you're a nurse that's working a lot of hours. But I did make a video where I talked about how nurses can make more than or as much as orthopedic surgeons. Look at that video because it'll show you that there's ways that you can work just as much as an orthopedic surgeon is or any doctor and make just as much as they do. Right.
Okay, let's answer an Instagram question.
Yeah.
You want to try?
Yeah.
So this is by Mickle33.
Mhm.
Has there been anyone to ever be able to work during CRNA school or manage an online business to pay their way through?
To pay their way through CRNA school. I personally had a friend. He was a colleague of mine who he said it was almost impossible for him to work and go to CRNA school because it's just that intense. I don't know from personal experience, but what he did was he got a per diem job in our facility, and then but this was before the program he was still working at our facility. He got a part-time job as a ICU nurse in another facility because he didn't have ICU experience in our facility and they wouldn't hire him in the ICU as an ED nurse. That makes no sense. Anyways, so he got a part-time job as an ICU nurse, went per diem at our job, and then when he started CRNA school, he quit his part-time job and just worked exclusively with our hospital as a per diem nurse. So it's going to be extremely difficult to do all of that while you're going to school as CRNA school. It's possible. Like, dude, let me tell you, it's absolutely possible because if Monica and I can like crunch so much of our time into like that different uh, side hustles and businesses, that is absolutely possible for you to be managing a business or doing something besides CRNA school. Okay, I'm confused right now. Are you going into nursing? Is it a good profession? Are you sure going into nursing is a good profession? Okay, it's a good profession if you want security, if you want stability, if you want flexibility, if you want the potential to earn a lot of money, if you want, because remember, as a nurse, you even if you're burned out, you can always leave and find something that makes you happier. So, as you might have seen, like there was videos, and I've made videos about this before, where nurses are leaving the profession in droves. But the reality is, they're leaving the bedside in droves because the bedside is burning them out. But they're still sticking with nursing in one way or another. And it's hard to report this, but this is the data that I've gathered from the hundreds of people that I've spoken to and thousands of people that I've spoken to. All right. Do you have a
Okay,
question?
let's this is a TikTok question.
Yeah.
Is it safe in Sacramento?
Is it safe? Okay. You wanna the like? Okay. So,
Okay.
is it safe in Sacramento? Monica, you wanna answer this?
I mean, so Sacramento itself, there's Sacramento and then there's Greater Sacramento
Yeah.
area, which includes Elk Grove, Roseville, Rockland.
Yeah.
So I feel it's safer than the Bay Area
Yeah.
or LA or a lot of other cities or like Oakland.
Yeah.
But I well, we felt a lot safer living in New York. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. What's your take
Yeah.
on that?
Okay. So, statistically
Yeah.
speaking, there is a lot of crime in Sacramento.
Mhm.
And most of that crime, however, is not violent crime.
Mhm.
It's mostly property crime. And it's not as bad as it is in the Bay Area, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But you will see, like cars broken into every once in a while. Our car has been broken into twice since living here.
By the way, our house got broken into. Our
Yeah.
garage got broken into one night when my son, who was only a year old, we were sleeping on the first floor, and our little car was parked in the driveway, and they managed to open our garage door
Yeah.
through our garage door opener that's in our car. They broke into our car, and then they went through our garage and stole my bike.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I don't know if we've ever. What else? Have you experienced
Okay.
anything like that in New York? I don't know, because we didn't live in the
Yeah.
house. We lived in like in buildings.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
so my brother-in-law got his car broken into once in New York City, but this is after living in New York for like decades, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as we moved here to California, within like what 2 years, 3 years, we were the victims of property crime, and not
Mhm.
only that, not only did was it our cars,
Yeah.
we've had our Arlo camera pulled out from like one of the walls, outdoor walls of our house. That's happened.
And we have so many friends and coworkers who got their house broken into, like living in Sacramento, and some even there's a friend of mine. She lived in Elk Grove, and she said
Yeah.
the same thing happened to
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Actually, twice. Two of
Yeah.
my coworkers.
But here's
So yeah.
but here's the
So it
thing.
really depends where.
It happens more in Sacramento, the city of Sacramento, than it does anywhere else, like Roseville, Rockland, and
The
Folsom.
outskirts.
Yeah, those are much safer places to live, and they're only
Mhm.
actually like 20 minutes away, 25 minutes away with no
Mhm.
traffic. So if you're looking for a safe place to live, um, just move outside of the Sacramento city limits.
I think people don't realize, people who don't live here don't realize that you don't have to live in
You
Sacramento.
know,
You
yeah,
you can live outside of Sacramento.
yeah,
You know, we have some really great suburbs like, Roseville, Rockland, and then Elk Grove within driving distance, very close by, maybe like 10, 15 minutes away
yeah.
from our Kaisers
Oh yeah, yeah.
or any hospital.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And and I would totally recommend that if you have a family and you don't care about living in a big city, move to Folsom, move to Granite Bay, move
Yeah.
to even Lincoln, and what else? Like Roseville area, Elk Grove. Those areas are going to be perfectly fine and safe for a family. And they're only 20, 25 minutes away from Sacramento, the city of Sacramento. So, yeah. And then also, there's a lot of hospitals. There's Kaiser Hospital in Roseville, and there's a Sutter Hospital in Roseville. So, yeah, consider that. All right, next. What other hospitals? Oh, are good in the Bay Area. All right, we can go
Oh
over
yeah.
the
Good
spreadsheet.
question.
Sorry, guys. Can barely breathe. My gosh, it's like my nose is getting more and more congested.
You had a cold.
Yeah, the SEMA's there.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I saw a comment.
Yeah. I do not have a cold. Well, yeah, sort of. I don't know. It just started today all of a sudden. Okay, let me see if I can share this with you guys. Okay. How do I add? Let's see. Here we go. Uh, sorry. Let me share. I'm like looking at this tiny little screen that's in front of me. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Um, so what are good hospitals in the Bay Area? If you guys are looking at us through TikTok and Instagram, I actually have our spreadsheet. It's on YouTube Live right now. It's on Facebook Live as well. Okay. So, um, I want to just show you guys how much money you can earn out here. So let's go by year, and then maybe I can even maximize this. Okay. By year, and let's say you don't put hours. Okay, years of experience, 30 years. Oh, yeah, you want to work, let's say 40 hours, right? So if you're working 40 hours per week, you have 30 years of experience, and you're on the, let's say, night shift. This is how much night shift nurses who have been in the Kaiser system forever, and not just the Kaiser system, like any of these hospital systems, are making. And if they're working 40 hours per week, right? That's $272,000 per year at Stanford, 264,000 at UCSF and at El Camino. And Washington Hospital is next. So we have Washington Hospital here with the 12-hour shift and the 8-hour shift employee. So and then you have Kaiser North. See, this is why we work at Kaiser. But the reason why, not in addition to like the high salary at Kaiser North, is all the benefits. That's why we're stuck there. Like we're not gonna go anywhere else. Because if you work at Stanford, you work at El Camino, you work at UCSF, and you work at Washington Hospital, those places are located in high cost of living areas. But if you work at Kaiser, you can move to any Kaiser in Northern California and live in a low cost of living area and still get paid the same amount all across the Northern Kaiser system. All right. All right. Let's go back. By the way, if you want this spreadsheet, you can go. I have the links in my description. You can buy from the link in the description. All right. Next, let's see. What other questions do we
You
have?
should prioritize some of these comments that pay you because
Yeah. Okay.
there was two.
Let's go with this comment.
Yeah.
I am planning to take MSN leadership because I was granted scholarship, but I have to desire to take managerial or administrative roles. Huh. I am happy being as a staff nurse, but at the same time, I don't want to miss the opportunity to have MSN. You know what? I would do it if I were you. If you were um, granted a scholarship, then why not? And it sounds like you're interested in this. Damn, you gave us $50. Are you crazy?
I know.
You didn't have to give us $50. Oh my gosh, you guys, I feel bad every time somebody sends us money like this. But it's I've been following your journey for a long time. I know you went from like Boston all the way to Stanford. And man, like I give it up to you because I remember you were so nervous about that move. But you did it. And look where you are now. And you said you don't regret that move. I'm so happy you don't regret it because I tell this to so many nurses across the country who are trying to like change their lives financially. Just do it. If you have a family, your entire extended family is in another state, but you're in a financial rut, you're in a difficult financial position, then move to Northern California, work in a high paying hospital, and improve your financial situation. Then improve your finances, invest your money, and then you can move back and live happily with your immediate family and your extended family. It doesn't, and you know what? Your extended family is gonna have family in California to visit. You know how many coworkers and friends we have who moved from like New York and New Jersey to here, and their family always comes to visit them. They're like more than excited, more than happy to come and visit them in another state. Because if you have all your family in one state, they're all in the same state all of the time. They want to be able to come to California. So yeah, dude, I would totally do this MSN leadership thing if I were you because it sounds like this is what you've been wanting to do for a while. So I wouldn't pass it up, and especially if you have a scholarship. And thank you so much for that. $49.99. What the heck? This is crazy. Okay. Let's go to the next question. Are there any more questions like this? Let's see. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go to the questions where you guys sent us money. Thank you. Oh, you keep sending us money. Why are you see this is that Stanford money right there. I'm telling you guys, you have so much money to spare when you work in Northern California. Okay, you said, is it possible to land a part-time weekend ED RN position if I don't have ED experience? I already have work 4 days in the OR during the weekday. I am thinking of working as an ER nurse on the weekend only. It's possible, but you have to be willing to work in a location that's not the highest paying. It's totally possible because there's many hospitals that are so desperate for nurses that they're willing to train you. And you might have to work there for 6 months to a year at least in order for you to, for them to like even, because some places they want you to sign up with them for a with a sign on bonus. So I interviewed a nurse who said that her first job with no experience, I think it was like in pediatric ICU or pediatrics, she said she had to accept a sign-on bonus. It's funny because she says they basically rolled the red carpet out for her because she was going from, I believe it was Florida to New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. That video will come out soon. But what she did was they paid for her flight, they paid for her hotel stay just so she can go to that interview, and then they gave her a $10,000 sign-on bonus. But what she didn't realize is that that was like one of the worst jobs she's ever had. She gained a lot of experience, but it was one of the worst jobs. And she ended up, after a year, she had like a 2-year contract with them. After that first year, she quit her job and went on to go travel nursing. And she paid, because when you cut your contract short, if you signed on with a bonus, you have to pay them back for whatever length of time you have remaining on that contract. So she had to pay them something like $5,000, $6,000, $6,000 back. But yeah, I would totally if I were you, I would be willing to apply in hospitals that are not going to be the highest paid. But Go through Incredible Health. They'll be able to help you. All right. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Okay. Do you have any questions from the top? Man, I must have been missed so many of them. Let's see. I got lost. There's so many questions. Oh, can Kaiser nurses who work remote live in another state? No, I've already
Yeah,
answered this
I just
question.
answered this question. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we
No.
wish.
Yeah. We wish.
Yeah,
No, it's not
I think I
possible.
mentioned this on on our last
Yeah.
live when I was looking at internal. I was looking at the postings internally at Kaiser. There was a ton of remote advice line nursing positions, and I was really tempted to apply. It was a 32-hour and a 40-hour one,
Yeah.
and it's like a Monday to Friday. Actually, no, it's every like you could. It's also on the weekends.
Yeah.
It actually requires you to work alternate weekends. But I thought it was just a pretty cool like opportunity if you want to work remotely. Stay at home. And it's an 8-hour position.
Yeah. All right. But yeah. Okay. So that's that. Let's see. I have to scroll up. Let's see. If you guys were CRNAs, where would you guys live? Oh man.
New York.
Yeah. Probably
We'll go
probably New
back
York. We would
home.
probably be in New York. Um, because the nurses out there are the CRNAs are making like 260, $270,000 a year. However, it's not. You'd have to be working a little bit more to make that much in New York than you would, like, let's say in West Virginia or Florida or Texas. But the thing is, the reason we wouldn't move to Texas is because the heat and the humidity. Like here in Sacramento, it's hot, but it's not humid. So at least we got that going for us because it can be 110 degrees in the summer over here, but it doesn't feel like 110. It feels hot, but it doesn't feel like 110 because if you're in New York and the temperature is like, let's say 85, 90 degrees, that feels like 115 degrees here in Sacramento. All right, let's see. Next question. What is your opinion about workplace bullying among nurses? How can we avoid it or stand up for ourselves as new nurses if we should come across it? You know, I've been bullied several times as a nurse. It still happens till this day. But at the end of the day, what I do is I just kill them with kindness. And they feel so bad when you're super kind to them if they continue to bully you like that. That's one. Secondly, um, I would reach out to my preceptor. Like, your preceptor is there to support you. And if your preceptor is not supporting you, you need to go to the manager. Like, if you have a preceptor who is bullying you, then you need to go to the manager and speak to the manager about what's going on. But and if the manager doesn't do anything about it, I would suck it up for maybe 6 months or a year while I'm applying for work in other places. And if I happen to get a job somewhere else, I would leave. I would not want to work in a place like that. Yeah. What do you have? What did you say?
Oh, or a different department.
Or
Yeah.
a different department. But I would speak to nurses in other departments to see how they like it before I go apply to
Oh,
another department.
FYI, at Kaiser, FYI, you can leave a paper trail. If somebody's bullying you, you can file an EERF, and that leaves a paper trail. And if there's a like if it's multiple staff members are complaining about this certain person, and you leave a paper trail, you'll they'll more how should I say how should I say this? You pretty much have evidence that we spoke up about this person and that they need to do something about it. But as far as Jason's department or job or whatsoever, I don't know about your experience there because you've had that
Yeah.
issue before.
Yeah.
What's up?
Okay, somebody
Mhm.
asked us, sorry, somebody asked us on Instagram. I
Mhm.
think you mentioned that Kaiser doesn't do time and a half post the eighth hour. Can you please explain this and if there's a way to go around it? There's okay. I said after the eighth hour if you're a 12-hour shift employee.
If you're contracted, that's your contract
Yeah. So
because you're accepting that job as a
Yeah.
12-hour shift nurse.
and what she means by contracted is a benefited nurse. So like if you're a benefited nurse, like a nurse that's working regular hours within the Kaiser system, and not even per diem nurses. So like let's say you accept a job offer at the Kaiser system, and you're accepting a job offer for a 12-hour shift position. Then if you work your entire 12 hours, you don't get paid time and a half for any from the eighth hour to the 12th hour. You get paid time and a half only if you're an 8 hour shift employee and that's how you've been hired, and you come in and you stay extra for after the 8th hour. You get paid the time and a half after the 8th hour, from the 8th to the 12th hour. Then after the 12th hour, regardless of whether you're a 12-hour shift employee or an 8 hour shift employee, you will get paid double time for that. But what I do say is that the reason why it's like that in the Kaiser system is because the union worked it into the contract. So what they did was, instead of just getting straight pay for the entire 12 hours for those 12-hour shift employees, they asked the hospital to pay those nurses the differential for the evening shift or for the night shift for the entire shift. There's no day shift, there's no base pay for those nurses. They all get paid either the evening shift differential or the night shift differential. So that's what they have going for them. But if you're a nurse who wants to maximize your income, I would highly recommend you work 8 hours as an 8 hour shift employee in the Kaiser system, because these nurses are definitely making more than the 12-hour shift employees because they're always picking up extra shifts after their eighth hour. All right. All right. Next question. Big fan of you guys. Any advice on branching out into alternative means of making money for nurses? There's so many. There's just so many, dude. I made several videos before about like side hustles nurses can do, but it's like the world is our oyster because we have so much free time if you actually work in a position that allows you to have a lot of free time, like Monica and myself. Even if I were to work 20 hours per week by myself and Monica was never in the picture, I would make it work because I here you can find a place, a 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom apartment in Sacramento for $1,700 per month. And as a nurse, who's working 20 hours per week, you're still bringing in about $6,500 to $7,000 a month. So you still have plenty of money to do whatever it is that you want on the side, right? You don't have to work 40 hours a week as a nurse in order to be able to start a side hustle. And remember, I started this YouTube channel before when I was working like 32 hours per week. I was working more hours per week back then, and I was raising a family. Like our son was just born, so we were doing all of that while, like starting the YouTube channel and working that out while I was trying to raise a family and working my job. So it's always possible. And I would say whatever it is that you're passionate about, that's something that you should look into getting into, because there's like I mentioned before, like there's nurses that do study guides. You can do study guides and make a lot of money if that's something you're passionate about doing. You can there's nurses that are selling merchandise. Okay, so Nurse John. I feel like my nose is getting more congested, guys. Sorry. Nurse John, if you don't know who he is, you need to start following him, because this guy makes what he did was, in my opinion, one of the best ways to monetize his skills. He is a comedian. He is so funny on TikTok, on Instagram, and he daily, every single day, was posting at least one piece of content. And then what he ultimately did was created a podcast, which is like one of the most popular nursing podcasts out there now. And he also created his own clothing brand. So now he sells merchandise. And if you want to see one of his previous videos, he made so much money in sales. Like he has receipt after receipt of all of the money that he's making. So one thing that I have noticed though is that most of this revolves around social media. So if you are not getting on board with social media, you are missing out. Okay. So you need to like realize that it's not just about selling something, it's about marketing yourself. I would say first and foremost, you need to be able to market yourself and then the sales will come. Right. So whatever it is that you're interested in selling, learn how to market first and then the sales will come.
Which okay, we have to talk about this. Remember, baby, we're gonna ask our viewers this.
Yeah. Oh, I mentioned the
Oh, you did?
the course.
My bad.
Yeah, I mentioned it.
Never mind.
Yeah, yeah. And I talked
Yeah.
about Tasha and all of that. Yeah.
Okay,
did,
maybe
I
I
did.
was not here.
Yeah, she was not
Yeah,
here.
I was in and
Okay.
out. Okay.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, let's see. Man, I have so many questions.
I know.
It's hard to keep track, guys. It's so hard
to
to keep track. Uh, let me see, because there's more up here too. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. So oh, I answered this one previously, right?
How can you even see that?
Yeah. Really? Okay. Monica needs glasses, I think. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna read that, but you guys can read that. Difference between going for a BSN and an ADN, do they make more?
Depends
The
where.
but the earnings are negligible.
Yeah.
Okay, you
We made 2 grand more just having our BSN in New York.
yeah, it was $1,800 extra. That was
Yeah.
probably like $2,000 per year. It's not
Yeah.
even per pay period. It's not per month. It's $2,000 more per year, and that was actually considered a good amount. All right, so it's not much. And the statistics that are out there that show that uh, most professions with a bachelor's earn more than an associate's. That's true, but when you're a nurse, it's not this necessarily the case. Okay,
I have coworkers that are still diploma nurses, guys.
yeah, in the Kaiser system. Are public health degrees good? Are they're high paid jobs? What degrees do you recommend for someone who has a non-health bachelor's degree but wants to have a high paid career in medical field? Oh man, that's a tough one. But you know what? The spreadsheet that I have, because I don't research every individual specialty, profession, and career out there. But what I do is I gather all of the data that the Bureau of Labor Statistics has to offer for every single profession in the healthcare industry. And I can show you guys real quick what that looks like. Okay, so let me share my screen. Hold on. Okay, let's share the screen one more time. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, this is my daughter's notes over here. Let me go to mine. I'm gonna go to my ultimate salary spreadsheet. Where is it? Healthcare salaries. Oh, this one. I believe this is it. So I also sell this one. Let's see. Uh, hold on. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Let me see if I can fix this. Hold on, guys. 1 second.
Someone asked if you have a blogging channel.
Someone asked if we have a blogging or vlogging channel. We do not have a vlogging channel, but
I don't think anybody would be interested in our
yeah,
daily lives.
yeah, no,
It's
no.
pretty mundane.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Okay, Chrome tab. Let me share this with you guys. Okay, there you go. Okay, so this is the salary spreadsheet that I have for every profession out there that you could think that's in healthcare. Well, not every, but most. Okay, so let's say you want to work as a, um, you said, let's see, someone who was non-bachelor. Okay, um, if you want to be a respiratory therapist, for example. All right, select respiratory therapist. And then you're going to scroll down because I just have New Jersey and New York selected. So I'm going to unselect everything. And now you can see what the highest paying salaries are for all of those. Again, these are median salaries that are reported by the or to the Bureau of Labor Statistics based on a 40-hour work week. And you can see here that this is how much the home prices are, for example, in this city. Now, when I make these videos and when I make these spreadsheets, I want people to know that I'm not telling you to move to the first one on this list, right? Because you have to take other things into account. For example, you see that the crime rate here is 76 out of 100 for violent crime and 74.8 for property crime. Now, who would want to live in a location where the property crime and the crime overall is extremely high? I have no idea why you would want to do that just to save a couple of dollars, right? Because at the end of the day, you are coming home with $49,000 after your mortgage is paid here. And the reason why the cost of living, the take home pay is so high is because the cost of living is so low. Look at the home prices here, $90,000 for a home, and your monthly mortgage payment is going to be about $588. Now, this is based on a 6.77% APR. The APR is close to 8% now, if not higher, right? So this needs to be updated, but the rates are changing so quickly that it's hard for me to update this so as quickly as the rates are changing. Okay, so I update it about every 6 months or so. Now, uh, a cool thing about this spreadsheet is that you can then look at the different locations. So, like, let's say I just want to look at California, and I want to look at New York, or I want to look at Texas as well. So then you can put all of them in there, and it'll tell you, okay, which city in these states will pay me the most as a respiratory therapist. And then you can also sort it by, let's say, home prices. You want to look at the home prices. Which place has the most expensive, or which place has the least expensive homes? This actually is helpful also if you want to get into real estate, right? Because you want to see where the lowest homes are, the lowest priced homes. Another thing you can do is like violent crime. Let's say you want to look at a location that has the least or the most amount of crime. There you go, from lowest to highest. This is the lowest amount of crime, and then you can go from highest amount of crime. Obviously, it's Oakland. That's why I make these spreadsheets, and I hope they're helpful to you guys. But let's say you want to look at a different profession and you want to look at RNs. Let's look at RNs because this is an RN channel, right? And I want to look at every single city, every single state for RNs. All right, let's do it. The median, let's see. Okay, so we're looking at crime rate. I want to look at my take home pay. How much am I going to have left after I pay my taxes and my mortgage? Well, there you go. If you live in, but okay, somebody told me to say Vallejo, right? But I'm trying to speak to the audience. We say Vallejo. I'm gonna say Vallejo. You can say Vallejo, whatever you want. Okay, but this is gonna be the place that's gonna allow you to take the most money home. $67,553. And you can see here that the crime rate that is reported to the FBI is relatively low. So if you want to make a lot of money and you want to pay less for your cost of living, then this is a place you can consider. Next is Fairfield, Redding, California, Fairbanks, Alaska, Flint, Michigan. I don't know who wants to live in Flint, Michigan because they still have that water issue going on. Modesto, California, Yuba City, and then Sacramento. And we chose Sacramento. We chose Sacramento because we felt like it was closest to the Bay Area, closest to Lake Tahoe because we go snowboarding every single year, and it's got an international airport, and there's so many interstates that cross through Sacramento, right? So yeah, let me stop sharing this, and yeah, all right. Let's see if we have. I'm gonna end this call soon, guys. It's going on 2 hours.
We gotta wrap it up because
So
yeah.
let me see. What is this? Okay, let me see if we have any other people who have uh, paid. Okay, all right. So that's it for, I guess, for this video, guys. I'm sorry I didn't get to all of the questions. There's so many questions all of the time. I've never expected to get this much engagement every time we do a live. But thank you guys so much. We got 2,100 likes on this live on TikTok, and several questions were given to us through Instagram. So thank you so much. Again, we're going to be doing this. Oh, yeah, we're going to be doing this every single week at around this time because this seems like the time that works best for us. I'm off every Wednesday. And yeah, so if you guys want to tune in next week. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And sorry, 6 p.m. This is Pacific time, which is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time. All right. And it lasts about anywhere from an hour and 2 hours. Most of these keep lasting for 2 hours at a time. So it's likely going to be 2 hours next time as well. All right. Thank you for everything, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.